So, chapter 4 talked a lot about social identities, and it talked about the ones that people tend to identify with the most. So, whether that's race, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, whatever it may be, people like to identify with something. They like to be a part of something bigger than themselves most of the time, and they just like to have a sense of belonging. And so they find that in a bunch of different ways, but one common way is through their ethnicity. So instead of just being American, a lot of European Americans will be Irish American or Swedish American. They also have a Mexican American pride there that I know specifically about in my own life. My dad's best friends are Mexican, and for quinceañera for their daughters, it is this huge deal. So that's when they turn 15. It's this huge deal, and they spend about $20,000. Not kidding, $20,000 on those birthday parties for their 15-year-old daughters, and that's the equivalent of my wedding, if not more. And so it's just that sense of when your daughter is Mexican and she's 15, she has this rite of passage to a huge party, and she should be celebrated because she's a woman now. And that's, they don't live in Mexico, they live in Birmingham, Alabama, but that's a way for them to still culturally identify with the Mexican American population. And so going into cultural identity is the appeal that you have to identify with a specific group of people, and that appeal can be stronger or weaker, and they call that cultural identity salience. And that also can go into ethnic identity as well, like how strongly do you want to identify with your ancestry and their beliefs. And transitioning into how I feel about being an American and my scores, I got a 13 for my U.S. cultural identity score, and then I got I want to say a 6, yes, a 6 for my marginal cultural identity score. And so what does it mean to be American? I really like democracy. I think that's awesome. However, American beliefs I don't necessarily agree with. I don't like the idea of being as self-centered as I feel like American culture teaches you to be. And with self-centered, I don't just mean all about faith all of the time. I mean all about Americans all of the time. I think we tend to leave out other cultures and expect them to adapt, and don't go out of our way to adapt to them. And I think my family members would probably answer similarly to me, hopefully. I hope that they also think that way, but one of my brothers is very gung-ho America, if you will, so he might answer differently. And then I don't really have a strong pride or confusion.